So in this video, we're going to talk about how to add and subtract rational expressions, but we first just need to talk about a basic fraction, how we get the like denominator, because we're going to have to do that for our rational expressions. So we need to talk about with two different denominators, we find the LCD, the least common denominator. And so we find out what those numbers are a factor of, the smallest number. So in this case, it would be 2 times 3, or 6. So we would have our 1/2 that we would multiply the top and the bottom by 3. And then we're going to add that to our 5/3, where we're multiplying the top and the bottom by 2 to get it to have a denominator of 6. So here we have a 3/6, and then here we have a 10/6, which is going to give us a total of 13/6. So when we look at our examples here, we're looking at the denominators 4 and 7. So we can get those to both be a 28 x, and so a 4 times 7x. So it's not always that they are going to be multiplied by each other, but we're trying to figure out what they could both be a factor of that is the smallest number possible. So we're going to go ahead and take this left side and multiply it by 7x, and then we're going to multiply this right side by a 4. And so we're going to multiply the numerators and the denominators by those factors. So this is going to give me a 35x squared. This is going to give me a 28x. Up here is going to give me a 12. Down here is going to give me my 28x. So now I'm going to go ahead and write my 28x because we keep the denominators the same, and then we're going to subtract the numerators, which we can't actually subtract an x squared and a 12, so we're just going to leave it as 35x squared minus 12 over 28x, and we're done. And we would want to see if there is a factor that we could take out of all of those, but there's not. You can't simplify any further. So definitely always double check that when you think you're done, that you've gotten everything. So on this one, look at that. They have the same denominator. So our least common denominator is x plus 3, and we don't have to actually multiply this times anything. We can just go ahead and leave our denominator as x plus 3 and add our numerators. And we can't cancel anything, so we are done. They already have a common denominator. All right, so for number 4, we do want to factor our difference of squares right here. So then we can kind of see what's missing. So I have my x over x plus 5 minus 40, and then I have my x plus 5 and my x minus 5. So notice that my least common denominator, it's going to be an x plus 5 and an x minus 5. And I already have an x plus 5 over here, so all I have to do is multiply this one over here on the left times an x minus 5. So we don't actually have to multiply both this time. We just have to multiply this first fraction. So don't forget to factor denominator first. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and distribute here to get x squared minus 5x. And I'm going to go ahead and leave my denominator kind of in its unfactored form, and notice that they match. So we can go ahead and write our denominator, x minus 5, x plus 5, and then we're going to subtract in the top here. So x squared minus 5x minus 40, and factors of 40 that add to get 5 would be None, so we are done. All right, so go ahead and again, factor. And then we can take a look to see. So you're going to look to see what they have kind of in common. This does cancel here, this x and this x, so we're left with a 1 there. So it looks like we have the x minus 2, and we're just going to be missing the x plus 2. So they need an x minus 2 and an x plus 2 is our LCD. So we're just going to multiply this side. So go ahead and finish up this one by multiplying this side times x plus 2. All right, so went ahead and multiplied here times 1 would just be an x plus 2. So we're taking x plus 2 minus 1 and then keeping the denominator the same, just writing it once. And then we're going to take that plus 2 and minus 1, and we can actually subtract since those are just numbers. And here's what we have left. Is our answer. All right, so let's go ahead and jump down here. So we're going to factor. And the factors of 9 that are going to add to get 6 would be -3 and -3. So x minus 3, x minus 3. Well, we only have one x minus 3 over here. So our LCD is going to be x minus 3, x minus 3. So we need one over on this side. So we're going to go ahead and multiply this times x minus 3, this times x minus 3. So I know that I'm going to have the x multiplying by both of these. I'm just going to go ahead and write my x minus 3 denominator out here. And I'm going to have an x squared minus 3x and then a plus 5. So are there factors of 5 that add to get 3? Well, 5 and 1 are only factors, and so there's no way to get 3, so we are done. Can't factor or simplify any further. So I want you to try this last one on your own. And there is some, a lot of foiling and some distributing, but you can attempt it. And our LCD is going to be x minus 5 and x plus 3. So we are going to have to multiply this side times x minus 5 and then the left side times x plus 3. So you're going to FOIL here. You're going to distribute here. And keep it all over x plus 3, x minus 5. So let's go ahead and see what we get. X squared plus 3x minus 4x minus 12. And then here we're going to get a 5x minus 25. And now we're going to go ahead and combine all those like terms. So x squared, and then let's see, that's negative x. That would be 4x. Negative 12 and negative 25 would get you negative 37 all over our denominator. And you can't factor that numerator, so we are done.